Hi, my name is Jessica Steslow, and this is my Project 1 for Geog 777. For Project 1, I decided to use the framework Shiny because I think it is well suited for interactive data sharing. Shiny is a web framework that simplifies the front end and back end communication. It has good documentation and examples and comes with built-in interactive UI elements. It was initially created for R, but it was recently released in Python. And I thought it would be an interesting challenge to use only open source. And I was able to meet that goal, but I've created sort of a network of Python libraries for geospatial analysis using GDAL and rasterstats, different libraries for data handling and plotting and regression modeling. So we're looking at Visual Studio Code, and I have my folder structure, my application code on the left side, and an emulated browser on the right side using a Shiny extension for Visual Studio Code. So I'll take some time to go through my application. I present the initial data as two choropleth maps, and I show the cancer rates as polygon data and nitrate level as point data. They're in two different color ramps to make them visually distinct, and I thought it was important to show the two different types of data. Also, because the census tracts are quite dense, I just thought it made sense to create two different maps. I think it's easier to interpret the data. This is where I would have wanted to include an interactive map such as Leaflet, and Shiny does have support for IPy Leaflet, but I wasn't able to get a choropleth map displayed the way I wanted it to, and I thought the two static maps just looked better in this case. I talk about the analysis process. I show histograms for the nitrate value and the log of nitrate value, and I have a slider so the user can change the bin count. I talk about the power value for IDW, and I have another slider for the user to change. The p-value can change between 0 and 4 with a step of 0.5. When the application loads, there's a default value of 1. I'm not going to change the slider right now because it takes some time to load, but I'll continue to talk about results with the p-value of 1. So for my results, I show a scatter plot with regression line, and we can see that the scatter plot is a little all over the place, and the regression line doesn't really capture where the points are located. And the residual plot also is a little all over the place. I show a standard deviation of residuals map as another choropleth map with a third color scheme distinct from the previous two, and I show that there are multiple census tracts in the green color scheme with positive standard deviation of residuals, some with a high value, and not as many with the negative values. It also looks like there is some clustering of this standard deviation of residuals, which is not really what you want to see with a residual map. So that indicates that there's some spatial component that needs to be addressed before the regression. The Python library that I chose to do regression is PYSAL-spreg, and it's quite robust, and it had a summary of all of these statistics, and I thought it would be helpful for an advanced user to see this, so I added it at the end of my application. So I'm going to go ahead and change the power value. Calculations are happening in the background. The plot should update. I'm having a bit of a circular error, and I think that has to do with reactivity with the slider, where you are continuously updating And that's a bug that popped up late assignment that needs to be worked out, but for the most part, my app works and it calculates, and I think Shiny was really interesting to work with. I also want to show that the Shiny application is responsive, and the elements attached to each div are actually bootstrap tags. So it's pretty easy to customize. And each of the plots also is reactive. I actually really enjoyed learning about the Shiny framework, and I think it can be really powerful. Thank you.